Welcome to KOIN Conversations. I'm Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart, and today I am bringing in a friend of mine for now years, Kevin Bumatay, who has officially become the brand new CEO of the Cascade AIDS Project. So, Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and bring you right on in. First off, congratulations on this big honor. Tell me,
Thank you so much.
How does it feel to be the new CEO of CAP?
Yeah, it's quite surreal. I'm honored and humbled that I was chosen to fill this role. CAP is such an amazing organization, important to me, important to the community that I'm a part of, and so I just feel just deeply honored to be able to lead the organization forward.
And I had mentioned, you and I, we've known each other now for several years, and I can't think of a more deserving person to be able to take on this very prestigious organization. For people who might not know about CAP, Cascade AIDS Project, could you explain a little bit about what you guys are all about?
Sure. So CAP has been around for more than 40 years. We were born from the suffering caused by the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s, and we've evolved our mission over time. Today we provide a broad array of services supporting not only folks living with HIV, and those services include things like housing, social services, opportunities to connect with others, as well as employment services and so much more. And then we also provide a lot of comprehensive and compassionate care for the LGBTQ plus community.
And taking on this role, obviously big shoes to fill just in the team size. How many people are under you? Who's all kind of behind the scenes with this as well?
Yeah, CAP is comprised of 230 individuals, a budget of about $35 million on an annual basis. And we have a number of departments that accomplish the work that we do, including prevention, which does a lot of the STI testing, a lot of education around PrEP and other forms of preventative measures. We have a PRISM Health, which is a health clinic, a federally qualified health clinic that provides that compassionate care to the LGBTQ plus community. We have a housing department, which most people don't realize that CAP actually provides housing assistance to almost 1,000 households. And so that's a big part of our services. And then we have an office in Southwest Washington that provides similar services to what we do in Oregon, a lot of medical case management, STI testing. And then finally, there's our House of Portland, which is a residential care facility that provides long-term nursing care for folks living with HIV.
And of course, I think a lot of people probably think about HIV/AIDS overall as a LGBTQIA plus disease, but it's much broader than that. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, it surfaced in the 1980s with amongst gay men. By virtue of the way the virus spreads, it was more common among gay men, but it has changed. The demographics have changed over time. A lot of folks that are diagnosed with HIV are folks that use illicit drugs through injections, and because it's that exchange of blood and other bodily fluids that creates an environment to be able to have that transmission. There is a lot of, we do serve the LGBTQ plus community, and there's a lot of overlap in terms of folks that are living with HIV and identify as LGBTQ plus, but we also serve a lot of folks that are not part of the LGBTQ plus community that have HIV.
And you guys are doing fantastic work with everything under the sun. I hear about you guys all the time and all the charitable work and organizations that you set up. Now that people are maybe a little bit more familiar with what CAP does, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in the position you are today?
Yeah, it's a pretty windy road, I think. I actually started my career in the Navy. I was a naval officer for 7 years. And then eventually moved over to be a civil servant for the federal government. Since that time and now, I've worked for another nonprofit. I worked for the city of Portland. Essentially, I've always been drawn to service of my community, to service of my country. And this is really an extension of that, continuing to serve the queer community as well as the HIV community here in Portland. people that I'm friends with, people that I hang out with on a regular basis, and people I care deeply about. So it's pretty neat to be able to have a job where you work for an organization and provide services to a community that you just care so immensely about. It makes it very rewarding, and it was an easy decision to eventually move to CAP.
And I know with you kind of spearheading the new direction of CAP and everything, I got to reiterate to people that you have lived here in the Portland area for a while, so this is your community. The steps that you are taking to try and better educate people, to protect people, it's helping out your friends in that regard. How long have you been in the Portland area?
Yeah, my husband and I have been in Portland for 10 years now, coming up in actually almost exactly 10 years now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy to have
it's
you
been
guys
great.
here.
Yeah.
With kind of the new direction that you guys, or you in particular, are foreseeing, what's the direction that you would like to see CAP move in?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I think the services we provide today are so important to preserve, and I really want to create an environment where that's possible. But there are new threats, very, very real threats. One example is the current federal administration has been trying to prevent the care for individuals that are transitioning their genders, who have gender incongruity. And primarily like folks under the age of 18, but these folks deal with very difficult challenges when they don't identify with their gender identified at birth. And CAP has provided gender affirming care services for these individuals for quite some time, and we want to continue to do so. And we want to be a refuge for folks going through that transition, people who identify as transgender. And so that's something that I'm very keenly focused on to make sure we preserve and protect over the long term. Another one is access to healthcare. There is essentially a defunding of healthcare that's happening in the United States with further restrictions on Medicaid, further cuts to Medicaid funding. There's also restrictions on the Affordable Care Act in the marketplace. And this is going to result in people being disenrolled from their healthcare plans, and therefore they won't have access to that health care that they need. People living long lives is really driven by having that preventative care, that primary care doctor that they can see on a daily basis, and they're going to lose that. And so finding ways to preserve that care in different forms, even if they don't have insurance, is going to be, I think, an area that CAP will need to focus on, particularly related to the LGBTQ plus community.
And if somebody is wanting to maybe undergo some of your guys' services, or maybe is unaware of what their status is, what are the next steps for them? Where might you guide them to be step number one?
Yeah, so one, it's so important to know your status, to get tested regularly. A full panel test, not just simply HIV, but the full panel, syphilis, gonorrhea, and others. Get tested regularly. And you can do that at any of our locations at CAP. There's the PRISM clinics in Portland. There's a Southwest Washington, Vancouver office. There's our office here in Old Town where you can get tested and get that sense of awareness of your diagnosis. And once you do find that, then we can help you navigate into a healthcare plan. For folks that do get a positive diagnosis, we can find a health plan for them. We can manage them. We can ensure that they have that case manager that can navigate them through insurance, navigate them through care. And then for those that have a negative diagnosis, we can help them get onto preventatives like PrEP, for example. That's one of the biggest, I think, achievements in recent history in the prevention of the spread of HIV is the introduction of PrEP. Folks that are having active sex lives should certainly consider getting onto PrEP, and we can help them find ways to do that in a very low cost or free way.
And I know that this all can sometimes take maybe a mental toll on someone who might be coming to terms with their sexuality or what their gender identification is. Are there services that you all provide as well in regard to mental health and just kind of this whole transition and taking a step and making sure that they stay healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have behavioral health services that we provide at our PRISM locations in Portland, and that's part of really integrated care. It's part of healthcare. It's having not only that primary care doctor, but also the behavioral health care. And so, if you're ever struggling with mental health challenges, please never hesitate to come into PRISM, where we can initiate care for you. I will say at PRISM, we recognize that people's identities is complex, and we never stigmatize that. It's a judgment-free zone. Many of our folks at PRISM that work there as primary care doctors, as medical assistants, as staff, they identify as trans, they identify as LGBTQ+, and so they meet every patient where they're at and have that understanding of the challenges they may be facing in terms of their identity.
Is there an age limit to any of these? Can a teen come in and try to get any sort of resources? Talk to me a little bit about that dynamic.
Yeah, so most of our patients are adults. We do serve teenagers. And we are, as a health center, we serve everyone. And then if for whatever reasons we don't have the services available for a specific situation, then we have referral services available as well.
And I know that you guys are working diligently, but you can't make this all happen without money being able to back it up. How can somebody get involved and say, hey, I think what you guys are doing is top notch. I want to be a part of it. How can people go about doing that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. People look at CAP as being a long standing organization in the community, looks at some of its events and says, oh, they must have a lot of money. In fact, we don't. We are a scrappy organization, and this is the case for many nonprofits. We rely on funding from the community, from people, from corporations, from foundations, to really backfill a lot of the money that we don't get from the federal government for a lot of the services we provide, such as housing assistance. Federal government, local governments never provide 100% of the funding that's needed to actually accomplish the work that we do. And so we rely on community to backfill that for us. And so the best way to assist us is become a giver, become a donor. You can visit capnw.org and become a giver. And ideally, we would love for you to become a monthly donor because that really helps that recurring cash inflow. It stabilizes the funding that comes in and allows us to have more predictability. So I encourage anyone who wants to support us and support the work we do, please do become a monthly giver. $25 a month is not a lot of money for folks. It's like a Netflix subscription.
Or even a cup of coffee at this point in time.
Exactly, exactly. And $25 pays for one STI test for an individual. So just think about that. You do it 12 times a year. You have 12 individuals getting a free STI test for folks that otherwise couldn't afford it.
And you've already kind of touched on it, but knowing your status really kind of opens the umbrella for a community as a whole, because it's not just LGBTQIA plus individuals who are, may transmit something like this, but knowing your status can help reduce that spread to any community. The greater Portland area. I know a lot of people also are struggling with money, and that's why you guys are in place, so the people who can help can. But really, like you mentioned, $25 helping an individual, that helps give back to your community. Talk to me a little bit about people coming in maybe wanting to support but don't have the financial needs to do so.
Yeah, so being involved with CAP is a lot more than just simply giving money. We take other forms of services or help, such as volunteering. We have a lot of programs that require volunteers. One key program is Esther's Pantry, which is located in Milwaukee. They provide food assistance, to low-income families. They have trans pantry days for individuals who identify as transgender. And they rely on volunteers to essentially run that food pantry. And so that's one great need. We also have the Our House of Portland, which is a residential care facility for individuals living long lives with HIV but have high medical needs. We need people there to volunteer and provide sort of the give attention to the residents, help out at the kitchen, serve in the reception. So that's another area where we can really use volunteers.
And you maybe don't know the statistics off the top of your head, but it almost seems that maybe parts of the transgender community are at a higher rate of needing help and assistance from food pantries and such. What kind of relationship do you see with those?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, trans folks have a higher rate of being unhoused. Trans teenagers have a higher rate of being unhoused. It's one of the most marginalized communities in Portland and across the United States, really. And so making sure that they have a safe space to come get free food, do their shopping essentially for an entire week is important. They also can obtain housing support from us, which is essential, getting people into housing, either whether it's permanent housing or short-term assistance, is an area that we can provide assistance with as well.
On the flip side, the fun part of CAP, you guys do a lot of different events. Talk to me a little bit about that, and maybe if people want to spread the word in that regard as well, because that's beneficial as well. What type of events do you guys typically have lined up?
Yeah, so we have a few major events. In September, we have the AIDS Walk, which is it's a way for us to show up in community and say, hey, HIV is here. We're not afraid to say it. We're not stigmatizing it. We're here to support folks who are living with HIV, and we're here to do what we can to eliminate the epidemic altogether. So that's in September. We have the art auction and gala, which is our big glitzy event. It's a huge fundraiser for us. It's a lot of fun. A lot of artists donate some amazing pieces, which we then auction off as part of the event. That's happening on April 11th. If you're interested in buying tickets, those should be going on sale soon. We also have various events throughout the year just to continue to elevate voices of individuals, not only the LGBTQ plus community, but also those living with HIV. And one example is the World AIDS Day, which we had in December at the Clinton Street Theater, where we heard stories and voices from people who have been living through their HIV diagnosis, back from individuals that received the diagnosis in the 1980s and lost many of their friends, to people who recently have been diagnosed. So we have a lot of events throughout the year, and try to have a lot of fun as well. Pride is one of our fun events where we do a dance and march in the parade, and basically have that pride of who we are.
And we love to see your guys' presence, and being out in the community myself, everyone always talks so highly and how much fun they have at all of these CAP events. You are now, as of this recording, 15 days into the brand new job. Yeah. I'm impressed with the knowledge you have. Tell me, on day one, maybe we'll take a look at this video. You put together a fun little clip just so people could get to know you as well. My apologies, at the beginning you talked about how bad the weather was that day.
Yeah.
What was the process?
Thanks, Josh.
I know. What was the process of kind of putting this together and building community even within your team?
Yeah, so Erin, our content creator, who does amazing work on our social media, was the artistic director for this. She had a vision, and we had essentially, I think, 6 sets or 7 different sets where we had to set up this desk with the light and stapler and all the little tchotchkes in the exact same place. I was supposed to, say certain things, which I never got right. Had many takes.
I feel you there.
A lot of stuttering and a lot of just wrong words. You see some of the outtakes at the end. But it was just a really amazing thing that Erin and Dustin, who's our communications manager, pulled together for me to sort of show a little bit of my personality. And one thing I like to say is I do serious work but I'm never serious. I don't take
Don't
myself
take yourself
seriously,
serious.
but I do serious work. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that really kind of breeds a positive workplace environment for so many people. It allows people to want to be part of the community, and I know that you shed that light very brightly in the years that we've known each other. Is there anything that people should know that maybe I failed to ask that you were just dying to let them know about CAP?
Our residential care facility this year is reaching its 20-year anniversary of its building, and it cares for 14 people with high medical needs, 24-hour nursing facility, beautiful space, does amazing work, and our HVAC is going kaput. And if anyone knows of a free HVAC, let me know. But I also, Josh, I hope to see you and Cole at the art auction. It'd be lovely to have you there.
Yeah, no, we definitely, anytime you got our phone numbers, hit us up and we will be there in a heartbeat because you guys do a lot of great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Kevin Bumatay, for spending time with me today and enlightening people about CAP. Again, congratulations on your job. And, I'm really excited to see where you take everybody here in the next several years and beyond.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's so great. It's always good talking with you.
Likewise. That's it for our KOIN Conversation. We'll see you all later.